everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Dive. Today on the show, we're chatting with Frank Holmes, CEO and Chief Investment Officer of U.S. Global Investors. Hey, Frank, welcome to the show.
It's nice to be with y'all.
So it appears that we are in the early innings of a gold run. What type of gold companies do you think offer the best opportunity for investors?
Well, it depends what stage you're at. If you're in exploration, are you in the development, or you're the producers? And it's identifying those three stages and the timeline for them. So if you're in exploration, you have to see where the energy, where people are so in love with. There's a company called Chalice in Australia that had a mega cobalt, palladium, platinum discovery. It went up 20-fold because palladium was one of the best performing assets, and they haven't fully drilled it out. So it's recognizing where you are on that stage. When you look at the producers, it's very quant driven how I look at that world. And that is companies where their revenue last quarter grew faster than the price of gold. So if gold went up 10%, I want a gold stock that its revenue went up 11, 12, 15% for that quarter. I've done all this back testing, thousands of hours, and those companies will perform. And it's seldom can you get the revenue last quarter and the cash flow last quarter was above the average for 4 quarters, both in the same direction, and they had free cash flow. Sometimes you can't get, in the past 15 years, 10 stocks doing that. And it's recognizing those that do it give you far superior performance.
In 2020, we saw Bank of America go from a $3,000 price target all the way back to $2,000. What catalyst do you think can drive this shiny metal forward?
Well, it appears to me that particular bank, which is really interesting because I'm told that they won't allow their brokers to take orders for anything under market cap under 200 million, and any stock cannot be margined under $10. But here they are making all these comments. And what's important, I've seen in the capital markets, that ecosystem, that the Acorn and the Robinhoods they have, in particular on Robinhood, an icon for gold investing and specific. So I think there's 2 parts to that whole question. Is they went up to 3,000, went down to 2. Really simple, I can understand. Real interest rates. So what is the 10-year government bond paying? It was paying 2%. It went down to 50 basis points. Now it's back over 1%. And inflation is running at 1.3, so the 10-year yield is still negative, but not as much. I believe that inflation is actually substantially higher because the algorithm that they use to tell you what inflation is in Canada, the US, is it just really doesn't capture the inflation. I have to go pay for food. If I'm renovating a house, lumber prices are up 40%. Housing in the US on average is up something like 12% last year, but that's not showing up in inflation at 1.3. So I think that their model, the big banks for calling gold, are off base.
You're currently interim chairman of Hive Blockchain. The company recently announced closing a $15 million round of debentures. What's the latest at Hive?
Well, I think more important after that is what preceded that was we're expanding our footprint in Bitcoin mining. We're doing the due diligence on 50 megawatts in New Brunswick. We have analysts there right now as we're talking, trying to get things firmed up and finalized. 50 megawatts can be worth millions of dollars a megawatt after it's all finished being built out. So they're the huge growth opportunities, and we're going to fill that with new machines. And in that cash that we just earned, basically allows us to buy more equipment faster.
The European Central Bank is calling for global regulation of Bitcoin. How do you view the regulatory risk of Bitcoin?
It's when you ask that question, it's a great, because what people don't realize, and they call that ecosystem of Bitcoin and then Ethereum. The Bitcoin, they have over 10,000 nodes around the world that are totally independent of countries and central banks. So they can turn around to regulate it while people convert it to currencies, etc. But that's as far as I think they can really go with that at this stage, unless they just say you can't have it. But when they do that in countries, it's the only source of foreign currency in dysfunctional countries like Venezuela, Argentina. If you're in Argentina, you can't get US dollars. So what do you have to do? You mine Bitcoin and you arrive in America, and all of a sudden you can convert and you get the cash. And you notice that Bitcoin ATM machines are very big in Florida, in Miami, and Orlando. When Latin people fly in, that's where they go. In London, these machines are also very important for dysfunctional Eastern European countries. So I think that trying to go after it will not be a linear, be able to lock it down the way they would think. Ethereum is different. Ethereum is a platform. It's a platform because it's a smart contract. It trades much more, but it's also treated as a currency. And if you look at what's called stable coins, if you look at this run to 19,000, 2017, the crash of Bitcoin to 3,000, JP Morgan trash talking it all the way down until February of 2018 when they announced their own crypto stable coin. Well, that's on the back of a protocol like Ethereum. A lot of these stable coins are on that protocol. And I think what's going to be really hot this year is going to be DeFi, decentralized financing. That is going to be a huge growth engine, and they predominantly use Ethereum as the backbone for that. So I share with you that last year, Bitcoin got all the attention, but Ethereum was up more. And so for now, we're going to look at by February the 5th or the 8th, those dates, the CME is going to launch Ethereum futures market. So I think the growth in Ethereum is going to become much more significant and exciting. And we're very profitable. We're the only crypto mining company mining Ethereum in addition to Bitcoin.
You frequently cover commodities on your Frank Talk blog. Overall, what commodities are you the most bullish on? And conversely, which ones are you the most bearish on?
Well, bullish is for us when we talk about commodities, and I write about this every week. In particular, is monthly data. It's called PMI, Purchasing Manufacturers Index. In the US, they quite often call it the ISM. This indicator is a great leading indicator for commodity demand. It is about a 6-month window. And when we see the last month of PMI numbers globally go above the average for 3 months, that means commodity demand is going to be rising for 6 months out. And we've done this regressional study that shows it is very predictive for copper, for iron, for oil and gas. And what we've seen now is the US had the highest PMIs in the world. China's strong. China and the US have the very robust PMIs. That means strong commodity demand. I think with the new administration coming with Biden, it's going to be green. Everything is going to be focused on green, green, green. And the same thing is going to be in Europe. So therefore, copper is going to be in big demand. Platinum and palladium, silver. Silver is needed for all the solar panels. So I think you have to look at the world differently and what the big demand is going to be. The carbon that you're going to get from coal, that's going to be dysfunctional. There's something else for Hive Blockchain. We only use green energy. Very important. That's been our strategy. Whereas many of these other crypto mining companies are using coal generation to get their cheap electricity.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today on the show, Frank.
Well, I'm happy that your listeners are enjoying a great year last year, and tell them all this money printing is very, very good for commodities, and it's best to be long, otherwise you're going to be wrong.
And for our viewers at home, don't forget to click that subscribe bell below. We'll see you next time on The Dive to go over all things small caps.